If you're here because you are a virtual assistant looking to level up, curious at the role of digital business manager, but not entirely sure what it is, hi, you are in the right place. When I first started working online back in 2016, I was basically a virtual assistant. I didn't know that's what it was at the time, but that's what it was basically. I did different admin tasks, design tasks, like content writing, formatting, and slowly over that first year, I moved into content management, then project management, and then it unraveled into my final evolution, if you will, digital business manager. So what are the differences between virtual assisting and digital business management? This is definitely one of the most frequently asked questions I get. So let's talk about that in today's video. My name is Deya. I am a freelancer, digital business manager, and most recently an entrepreneur. And as always, there will be timeline sections below so you can click to whatever you're most interested in because I know your time is precious. So feel free to take what you need. So let's get into the video. So broadly speaking, I would say that a VA role is a little bit more vague and ambiguous. VAs can offer a whole range of services ranging from social media help, data entry, answering emails, scheduling things on a calendar. I personally did everything from admin, emails, data entry to proofreading, light graphic design, and even writing blog posts as a virtual assistant. But generally, I would say the majority of the work a VA does tends to be very execution heavy, or as I call it, like the doing, aka like the client tells you what they want done and then you execute for them. As a DBM, however, you are more focused on the overall management of the business and the strategy aspect versus the execution. So your job is actually not to do. Your job is to put everything in place so that everyone else can do their jobs properly and to the best of their capability. More specifically, your job is to help manage the projects, the teams, the operations of the business. So some specific DBM tasks are: you might create the content calendar for the client so that the team has one centralized place for everything to live in and refer to. You might run the weekly team meetings so that everyone is on the same page and has clarity before diving into their tasks. You essentially get the team whatever they need so that they can do what they're awesome at doing. You might help your client hire for roles that are needed on the team, right? Drafting job descriptions, application forms, conducting interviews, onboarding, training. You might also set up new projects that your client wants completed in the project management tool, then delegate the tasks out to the team, answer their questions, make sure projects are running according to the timeline planned. So it's more so you see like the overseeing and the organizing of projects and people versus being in the nitty-gritty of doing the individual tasks. So if I were to use an analogy, I would use like a supermarket analogy. So in a supermarket, a VA would be the people, stocking shelves, the cashiers, the people helping customers find what they need. Meanwhile, the DBM is the person that oversees the store, oversees the scheduling of the staff, hiring of the staff, onboarding, training the staff, ensuring the staff is happy and has what they need to do their job, of making sure the supermarket is running the way it's supposed to be running. Electricity is on, the water works, of overseeing the setup of like a new display in the market, of developing promotions alongside the owner of the supermarket. So that's the major distinction. This is another question I get often. Does a client need a VA or a DBM? What are some telltale signs that they need one or the other? So I would say a business owner needs a VA if they have a ton of delegatable tasks on their to-do list. If they have a long, exhausting list of to-dos like check emails, respond to customer questions, format presentation, design for social media, writing captions, all things that they really shouldn't be doing as the business owner, then they need to hire a VA first. On the other hand, a business owner needs a DBM if they feel like their projects are kind of going chaotically. They have too many freelancers or contractors or team members to manage. The team sends them 400 questions a day via Slack and email. They have a bunch of ideas that they aren't getting done or executed or planned out. They need to hire, but they have no time to hire. They have no systems in place and everything kind of lives in their head. That's when they would need a DBM instead of a VA. It's just a DBM comes in and helps them get organized and helps them take back their time so that they can actually focus on working on the things they should be working on as a business owner, which is the profit generating tasks. So of course, I must add that there are pros and cons to each, as with anything in life. So it's really more so about figuring out which one is better fitted and suited to you and how you want to work and grow ideally. So the first pro is for both VAs and DBMs, of course. Basically all work online perks apply here. You can work from anywhere, tends to be very flexible hours, work in sweatpants, low cost to begin working for sure. You really just need a laptop and an internet connection. Pros on VA work. The biggest pro, I think, is that you can get started very fast and easily with very low barriers to entry. You don't really need specific work experience or in-depth industry knowledge. I personally had no relevant work experience really when I got started as a VA. I just Googled everything and learned as I went. So Google was my virtual assistant. 2, you get to be paid to learn and see how businesses work. That is some priceless knowledge. I think the reason I was able to scale so quickly was because I was being paid to learn about like how all these businesses work and like taking a peek behind the curtains, if you will, to be like, how do they do that? And how does that product work? And how do they like serve their customers? And how does this person do it? And how does that person do it? And when you get the behind the scenes of so many different clients in different industries, you learn so much about what is working well and what isn't. And yeah, it really goes a long way to developing you, because you are your biggest asset, right? 3, there are definitely lots of task options you can pick from when you're starting as a VA, so you can kind of try out a lot of different options and see what you like before you decide what you want to offer personally as a VA. Cons on VA work. The hourly pay is only scalable if you work more hours, and that was kind of the trap that I fell into. So most of the time as a VA, you start out hourly because your skills or tasks tend to be more ad hoc. Most clients have no clue what exactly they need when they first hire a VA, so most clients will want to pay on an hourly basis, which means you're really being penalized for getting better and faster at your job. So my recommendation is move into deliverable-based packaging ASAP once you have clarity on what the clients regularly need in their business. So as an example, if they need a blog post written and published every week, don't charge hourly for that. Make that into a package rate so that you don't get punished for becoming faster and better. Fred. 2, I also personally felt like my pay was very limited with the VA title because there is a connotation to it in the market, and clients think that there's a ceiling to a VA's hourly rates to charge for the services you're doing. So I was being paid around $10 to $20 an hour as a VA. I found it hard to get past that until I changed my title and my service offerings essentially to move up. 3, and this kind of depends on the client and the business, but you may end up working on more repetitive tasks on a weekly basis. I know for one VA client, for example, I was doing essentially the same data entry tasks every day for weeks, which was pretty frustrating, and it got really boring. And I felt like I had more to offer, strategically, and it felt like I wasn't being properly utilized, if that makes sense. So now pros and cons of working as a DBM. The pros. All work online perks, like I mentioned, work from anywhere, tends to be super flexible hours, all that stuff. Love that stuff. 2, more so, I noticed I was being paid for the value, experience, and results that I was bringing to the table, and it was less so about the hours worked, which meant that it was much easier to scale quickly. I could quickly go up to 30, then 40, then 50 plus an hour as a DBM. And of course, making more money made my life easier in lots of ways. Like I could work with fewer clients and I could be more picky, which really helped my mental energy and my free time for sure. So like to this point, essentially my clients didn't really care about how many hours I was sitting at my computer doing the work. More so they were like, what is the impact of what Deya's doing for me? And what are the results that she is driving through her work? Like, how are the projects she's managing doing? Is the team happy? Is the team helping me make money? Is she hiring the right people? That was more of the focus rather than like, did Deya sit there and like type for 20 hours, if that makes sense. Another pro that I really liked was working side by side with the CEO. So I really liked seeing the big picture of the entire business and how it kind of all worked together. It kind of like tickled my systems fancy. And I got to share my ideas and take ownership of the parts of the business I wanted to and really have impact. And honestly, that made it a lot more fun and exciting for me because I felt like I had more purpose and say in the businesses that I was trying to help. For example, for one of my clients, when I first started working with her, she was making about 4-figure months. And as I started working with her over the years, we slowly scaled the business to ultimately have a multi-6-figure month, which was so exciting. And I felt so like fulfilled in the way where I was like, I played a role in that. Like I played a role in helping this business grow. And I don't know, like professionally, it felt like professional fulfillment basically. So cons of DBM work. I'm going to be honest with these. I don't want to tell you guys just like fake cons, like, oh, you're going to love your work too much or whatever. I want to tell you real cons that I have noticed as well so that you go into this with like clear expectations, which I'm all about. So the first one is that there's definitely a higher level of ownership associated with this role. I felt like as a VA, I could just kind of like show up and do what was asked of me and then kind of check out mentally. I didn't really have to see the big picture or the overall business goals, but as a DBM, I had to. And also actually like I wanted to take ownership of my projects and my teams. Like I wanted to be responsible for them. I was definitely a bit nervous about this at first, but I realized like slowly over time, this is how I have impact and purpose in my work is by taking ownership rather than just like detaching myself from projects and their results, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a con/pro. 2, it's not so much about being liked anymore as you shift into into a leadership position. This was a little tricky for me because I am a bit of a people pleaser. So I had to adjust myself and my expectations here. But when you step into a leadership role, it's really about doing what's right for the business and the team. And obviously you take care of your team, but that also means holding them accountable when things are going wrong or people aren't doing what they were supposed to be doing or what they promised that they would do. It does take practice to get comfortable with that for sure. And honestly, I speak from one of the biggest anti-fan of confrontation, but slowly, I've really come to the realization that it's not so much about confrontation in the way that you're thinking of it. It's more so about discussing honestly with team members what is going right, what's going wrong, and then working together to find a solution to the issue and helping the business and the team solve it essentially. 3, you will have to work on your mindset a lot. Stepping into a leadership role is really exciting, but you will definitely have a lot of voices in your head that are like, oh, can you really do this? Like, who are you to be the leader, etc., etc. Those are normal, first of all. Nobody is born a good leader. Leadership is a skill like any other skill that's meant to be practiced and honed. So stay kind, stay fair, stay honest, listen to feedback from your client and team as you go and develop yourself as a leader on this journey. So those are the differences between being a VA versus being a DBM. Many VAs I find are actually already broaching onto the DBM territory without even realizing it. I call them mini-DBMs in disguise. So if you're already doing higher level tasks, helping clients with strategy, planning, hiring, then chances are you've already begun the transition without even noticing it. So if any of this has sounded interesting and you think becoming a DBM could be a potential option or future promotion for you to explore, I am linking my free intro class below on how to work online as a digital business manager. In it, I talk through tons more detail, like the whole enchilada of what I did as a DBM, what types of clients I worked with, a day in the life of a DBM, what that looks like, how my earning potential scaled, and much more. I also share about my paid program, Digital Business Manager Bootcamp, at the end of that intro class in case you're curious about getting the training necessary to move into that role. I wanted to be upfront about that. So that's in the description box below. Check that out if you're interested. And if you have any questions about being a VA or being a DBM or moving from one to the other, let me know below as well. I'm happy to answer any questions. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!